and I have a guest. I put out uh, on Instagram, hey, does anybody have a question? Does anybody have something they want to share? And lovely Shauna replied, and we're going to get into this topic today. I'm not going to reveal what it is yet, but first, Shauna's going to introduce herself. So, Shauna, will you say hi to everybody?
Sure, yes. Hi, my name is Shauna. I live in Northern California. I'm a mom of three. I'm one in heaven, and my oldest is almost six, and my youngest is 1.5. And I'm a working mom, but mostly stay-at-home mom too.
Yeah,
A mix.
great.
But um, that's
Great.
what it
Thank
is.
you. Well, I'm so glad you're here.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about your unique situation because you
Okay.
lost your middle daughter. And
hmm
how long ago was that?
It was almost actually 4 years ago.
Oh,
So
wow.
we lost her due to a medical mistake at our local emergency room. And that coupled with her heart defect was just too much for her little body. And
Oh my gosh.
yeah, so we've
That
been
must
through
have
a
been
lot as a family. And
mhm.
then when we got her gravestone is when we found out we were pregnant with Hunter, which is our 1.5-year old.
Mhm.
And so it's been a bit of a challenge because just parenting in general can be difficult, but being a bereaved parent, it adds another layer of, heaviness and just questions and what should we do as parents.
Yeah, I can't imagine what you guys feel like as a family. That must have been really, really hard. I'm so sorry.
Thank you.
Yeah. So tell me, yeah, what did that do to your parenting?
I would say it made me or has made me a passive parent where I feel like anything goes because I don't want to add any negative layers on top of the grief and everything we already feel. And
Mhm.
so I've kind of took the approach of anything goes. Sure, like, eat whatever you want, sit on the couch and eat. And, not it's not like lazy or sloppy parenting. There's a lot of love here, but
Yeah.
it's more like I would say no rules
Mm.
necessarily
Mhm.
and no real no consequences, but also just no real structure to it, I would say.
Yeah. It makes sense though. It's like you know your kids have been through so much. You've
Right.
been through so much, especially your older daughter.
Yeah.
And to have to discipline in the traditional sense, somebody who's grieving
hmm
does may not feel right. So that makes complete sense.
Right. And I just didn't want to add anything or any level of stress to her life or our life. And
Yeah.
I really, I come from a place like a family of passive parenting already.
Ah,
I mean, good, really good parents, really sweet. And they said, we didn't need to discipline you. We just loved you and everything worked out. um,
yeah.
and then my husband was more from more like a stricter, like consequence, chores, and like so we're trying to figure out like how do we balance this with bereaved parenthood, different parenting styles, and different way we were raised
We
too.
got a lot here. We got
I
a
know.
lot of different aspects
Tell
coming in
me
here.
about
Well, let's talk about the 3 different kinds of parenting styles, right? We've got permissive parenting, and then you've got, authoritative parenting, and then we have authoritarian parenting, and so your husband sounds like he's more of a authoritarian parent. I mean,
Mhm,
authoritative parent, and you sound more like a passive parent, but what we wanna get to is in this middle. But
mhm,
this middle is very ambiguous. Like some people would say, well, the middle includes lots of attention, but also consequences.
mhm,
Peace in parenting, connective parenting, respectful parenting, peaceful parenting. We all believe it's lots of connection, but
mhm.
without the punishments and the
Right.
consequences. But can you have boundaries? And can you have limits? But do you have to enforce those limits and boundaries with punishments and consequences,
Mhm.
or do you enforce them with connection?
Right.
Right. And so I think that's the thing that you guys are struggling with is like, where are our limits and boundaries and how do we manage them?
Right. That's very true. And I also think my daughter gets confused because she's in kindergarten and at her school they enforce timeouts, like separation, timeouts and consequences and but they do it in reverse kind of. They have that plus they reinforce negative behavior with rewards. So she comes home and she's like, "Mom, like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
All over the map.
Yeah, interesting. My kids too have gone through different iterations of trying to understand school
Mhm.
because it isn't what we do at our house. And it's
R
like, people are like, well, then they're going to get mixed messages. They're for sure going to get mixed messages. But
Mhm.
what we want to make sure is that our home is the safest,
Right.
kindest, most loving place and that they can learn about those kinds of manipulations, consequences, whatever you want. They'll know about them. They know about them right away. They don't
Right.
so this would be what I would say to your husband, like, it isn't that your children don't know that consequences exist,
Mhm.
but do we want them in the most loving relationships that we have,
Right, that's an amazing point, yeah.
right? We don't need them at our home because
Mhm.
we want our children to trust us. And do you trust somebody who punishes you?
Right, no, I don't.
Right? Well, of course you don't. You were probably never punished, but do you trust the warden and the jailer and the jury and the judge? Or
Right.
do you need to have a safe place where you can be free to make a mistake?
Mhm. Right, I think that's so important.
Yeah, and I think the other piece is we're really consequences and punishments really say, when you make a mistake, I'm going to give you a punitive measure.
Right, okay.
But how about just saying, you made a mistake? Let's talk about it. Okay. Oh, you ate on the couch? What's happening here? You ate on the couch again? What's the rule in the house? Oh, you're not supposed to eat on the couch. Okay, well, let's relocate here. Shall we relocate? You want
Yeah.
me to help you? I'm gonna come over there. I'm gonna get right in you, and I'm gonna give you so many hugs until you move to the kitchen. You're gonna get 17 hugs until you move to that kitchen. So now it's like we're gonna get the kid to go to the kitchen and get off that couch, but we're gonna do it using connection as opposed to using consequences.
Right, that makes sense, okay. Because I was wondering, like, you gave me a perfect example. Because I was wondering how do you enforce that without saying, "If you do this, you get this," that makes a lot more sense to me.
Yeah, it's a discussion, and our kids are gonna make a lot of mistakes,
Right. I make a
right?
lot of mistakes as a parent.
Me too. I didn't even know what I was doing on this podcast today. I came in and I was like, "Oh boy, couldn't find the notes. I can't find anything. I don't know where my headphones are." Like, of course, I make mistakes. We all do. And
Yeah.
so, do we want our children to believe that they're bad when they
N
make a mistake?
Not at all.
No.
Well, and I think it's important because I think, what we've been doing, not on purpose, is it's kind of like good cop, bad cop. Like, so mom says it's okay. So mom, is it okay? And then dad says it's not okay. So dad's the meanie. And I don't want that. I want my
No.
kids to love him just as much as they love me and be
Yeah.
as connected as him as they are to me. So
Yeah.
I don't want it to be like that either.
Well, I think then too, then it's like, do we sit down and say, what really are the rules? Like, do we need 7,000 rules in our house?
Right.
You can't really enforce 7,000 rules. All you'll be doing is worrying about rules all the time.
Right, yeah, that won't be good.
No, but when kids feel
No.
connected to their caregivers, they're more
Mhm.
willing to cooperate.
That makes sense. Yeah.
But they also can't, when we're passive, they don't feel connected either.
Right, which I didn't really realize until later as she's grown up. I mean, she's an amazing kid. I volunteer in her class, and I realize how good of a kid she is when I see the other kids in her class.
Yeah.
And she's, really quiet and a good listener. And it doesn't mean she's not like that at home, but at school, she's perfect.
Yeah.
And then when she comes home, she tries the things she sees at school on us. And
Mhm.
then my husband said, "See, she's not listening. She's, she needs some type of consequence. Like, does she lose a toy or does she lose time in her playroom? Things like that."
No.
And so we've
No.
been like really conflict over like, how do we do this?
Okay, so this is really good. This is a great point. So
Mhm.
kids are at school and are well behaved because they're scared,
Right,
right? She's too scared to make a mistake there because she doesn't want to endure the consequences and the punishments of school.
right,
And she doesn't wanna be publicly humiliated and embarrassed, right?
right.
We don't have that power at our house, but thank God, because we don't want our kids to be scared at home to make mistakes or scared to
No,
act out or scared to have a voice or scared to do these things that you're having a hard time with her.
right.
That's normal development, and she's not necessarily trying out the things that she sees at school. She's trying out the things she wants to try out that she's not
That's
allowed to see not allowed to do at school.
That's true.
But
And
what are
she
these things? Tell me some of the things I wanna get in there.
Okay, you mean like some of the things that are happening at home that like I okay. So just to say though, just to back up a little bit, and she's still at home, still an amazing kid. I mean, she's sweet, she's loving, she's, loving to us, she's loving to her brother. But sometimes she'll say, like, I don't have to listen to you or stop telling me what to do all day. And like
I
when she
love
gets
her.
home,
I love her.
I think because all day she's being told what to do.
Well, do you wanna be told all day what to do?
No, definitely not. So
Oh,
I understand where she's coming from, but I'm like, listen, I don't want to tell you what to do either. Some things were like safety measures, though. Like, I'm like, I can't let you sit on the table, or I can't let
no.
you balance on a chair and reach on the top of the fridge. It's just not safe,
Right.
you know? And so she's like, no, you can't tell me what to do. And I'm like, listen, it's my job to keep you safe. I cannot have you fall off this chair.
Mhm.
It's really important to me. So just different things like that she'll test out, or just like running away when she's upset, which she's
Mm.
never done before. That's new. But
Mm.
one of her classmates runs out of the room
Mhm.
and gets rewarded for it every day. Like
Rewarded, what do you mean?
he sits in the backpacks, like runs out of the classroom because he's upset, sits in the backpacks, and then they're like, come in and I'll give you a pom pom or a sticker
But
or
he's not rewarded for coming away, he's rewarded for coming
for
back.
coming back.
Uh-huh. Well, they're bribing him,
Yeah, yeah.
which doesn't really work, which we
Yeah,
don't
no,
wanna get we're having threats and bribes tomorrow, by the way, my thing, and so I'm deep
I
into
need to
threats and
listen to
bribes.
that one
Oh,
too.
yeah, yeah, come.
Yeah, so what
So
she'll
okay.
do though is if she gets upset, then runs away and then comes back and says, "Well, what do you wanna give me if I come back?"
Uh-huh.
Like, which
Okay.
I don't do the, like,
No.
"You'll get this," but
Bribe.
she's seeing that, so now she's, like, asking me, "What do I get if I come back?"
Okay, good. This is all good. Okay, let's start with the dangerous ones, like the
Okay.
getting on the chair and the getting on the table and stuff. I think we have to be very discerning what's actually dangerous and what
Mhm.
isn't. So I would allow her to do as much as you possibly can without intervening and let her suffer a natural consequence that isn't going to put her in the hospital. Right?
Right.
Like is she on the chair and is she going to actually fall or is would she be okay?
I think off the table, she probably wouldn't fall and get hurt, but, like, balancing from a chair to get to that top of fridge, she could get
Get
hurt, like,
hurt.
at least.
Or can you just say instead of saying, "No, you can't do that," can you say, "Here, honey, let me help you.
Yeah.
Here,
Yeah.
let me help you get up there. It looks like this could be a little dangerous. Let
Yeah.
me help you. Let me help you do this." I think when she's doing dangerous thing, can you help her as
Yeah.
opposed to getting upset with her?
Right, and, I don't really get upset necessarily. I usually just go, "Here, let me do it for you," which is not helpful either
No, I
because if
think
she
you
wants to do it.
uh-huh. How can you help her do it? Here, let's get the
Yeah.
step stool. This is much safer. Can
Yeah.
what measures can we take because she's 6?
Almost.
Yeah. So she
Yeah.
wants to do things for herself. She wants autonomy. And if she's that kind of kid, she's going to really crave that as you move through. And if you do
Yeah.
everything for her, will that feel controlling because she's not able to start to learn to do things for herself? And are we making her reliant on you instead of capable?
Right. Well, and that makes sense because I was listening to one of your podcasts that kind of opened my eyes how you said like we need to be teaching our kids things, giving them the tools so when they get older they're able to do things themselves. And I thought I was doing that, but I guess I'm not because like in the morning getting ready for school, now that we have a younger baby, he's a year and a half, she wants me to pick out her clothes and dress her, and she's capable. She knows how to dress herself, but she wants me to do it because she sees me do it with him. And
Yeah.
so we're kind of in a learning curve. And I guess because I have done the passive thing so long, she's probably confused by me. And I didn't even mean to.
Well, maybe not. Okay,
Like,
let's keep that one for a minute. I wanna get to the, running away one, but then I wanna get to this one too.
okay.
Okay, so the running away one, I think when she runs away and she's upset, I would go with her
Hmm.
because then she can't come back. She obviously wants to come back. She
Mhm.
wants the connection. She wants to be near you, or
Yeah.
she wouldn't be saying, "What are you gonna give me to come back?" So I would just every time she's upset and runs away, I would just slowly walk after her and go to her
Yeah.
room, and if she says, "Get out, I don't wanna be with you," don't listen.
Right.
Stay, let her have the tantrum, let her be upset, or maybe she'll embrace you. Maybe she'll want you to be there. But
Mhm.
either way, I think you don't want to leave a child who's upset alone.
Right, which I try not to ever do. We don't do the timeouts or
Great.
separation or anything. I actually learned that from you.
Oh, yay.
Do that. But I try not to do that, and I don't wanna be separated from her, like,
No.
because of that layer of my parenting being a bereaved mom, I know
Yeah.
how it feels to be separated from my daughter, not by
Y
choice, and so
yeah.
other daughter and son, I don't wanna be separated from them,
No,
and I
and
know
she
they
doesn't
don't
want
want
that.
either.
No. She doesn't want it. She's 5 and immature and doesn't know what else to do, and her feelings are overwhelming her, so she's running away from them.
Right, right, and we honestly didn't have any problems, like, I wouldn't even call it a problem. She's not a problem child, but
No.
we didn't have really any of these issues until kindergarten was introduced and she started being bullied, and
No.
once that happened, it changed at home for us, and
Yeah.
that's when I'm looking online frantically, like, peace and parenting. That
Yes.
is how I found you.
Oh, I'm so glad you found
Yeah,
me.
but I didn't know why. Because I mean, bereaved family, it's difficult enough, but we weren't
Yeah,
having the issues until we introduced kindergarten and bullying and all that,
baby
um,
girl.
and that's when we got at odds with, like, there has to be consequences and no listening, and
Yes.
it's not that me and my husband are, like, fighting about it, we just don't know
Well,
what to
yeah,
do.
I think we all are at a loss, and, the other thing I would say is, like, what I would try to institute is, my little one, Pia, she's 15 now, but the whole first year of school, so kindergarten, not preschool, but kindergarten, she came home totally dysregulated because it's hard to navigate 20 kids, 2
It
teachers, a principal, a playground, a lunchroom, a library, the people, the rules, the things, of that. It's really hard.
it
They
is.
come home with system restraint collapse. There's an episode on that if you wanted
I
to check.
listened to that.
So
Yeah,
this could be part of that. This could
yeah,
be part of her own bereavement. This could be part of whatever she's dealing with as a little kid. I wouldn't, view her behavior as there's anything wrong with her. I would view her behavior
oh,
as that she's just having a hard time in that moment. That's
right.
it.
That's
That
kind
is it.
of how we have approached it, we still approach it from a really loving aspect and include her in everything and just let her know, like, we're here for you, and, like, after I listen to your episode, when I pick her up from school, I get in the car and I just say, "How are you? I missed you." I used to say, "What'd you do today? Blah, blah, blah,
Yep.
blah, blah." And you helped me realize I need to just say, "Hey, I love you. I missed you. How
Yeah.
are you?" And that
Yeah.
changed the last couple of weeks, just get our ride home. She's
Good.
not silent. She'll actually talk to me and tell me, like, how she's doing.
Amazing, Shauna, amazing. I would add in now another layer. When she
Yeah.
comes home, I would play with her immediately.
Yeah.
Wrestling, pillow something big physical that she can get out her angst from
A good
school.
idea. Okay.
Pillow fighting, wrestling, chase, hide and seek, big motor skill movement play.
Okay.
I
That's
have a guide too that's in the link in my bio for
oh,
anybody else who's out here. Now we can put it in the show notes too. It's a guide to play and there's 13 games in there.
oh, okay.
There's all kinds of great games like King of the Rug. Everybody get on the rug, and whoever gets pushed off the rug first is the loser. Whoever stays on the rug last is the winner, and you always lose and they always win. And
Oh,
so
that's fun.
how yeah, I would do some games where she can be powerful and in control because
Okay.
she's feeling very overpowered at school. That's why she's saying, "Don't tell me what to do. You can't boss me around." Those kinds of things
Ye
because she does feel controlled, so you wanna give her control.
right, okay, that makes sense. And the other day, it was not a big motor activity, but the other day she was super excited because when we got home, I had set up to make banana bread. And I let her be in charge. I let her be the masher, her be the scooper and everything. And she was really excited. And she goes, I remember last year when I got home from preschool, we used to do this stuff every day and I loved it.
That's
And
so
so I thought, well,
sweet.
let's do more stuff like that. So yesterday we did watercolor and
Good. Do you so special have you heard of special time yet?
no, I haven't.
Okay, so special time is that. It's 20 minutes of
Okay.
play where but they get to pick the activity
Oh, okay. Okay.
every day.
I love that.
And you can do it with your son too.
Okay. Oh,
Every day. He won't be able to pick so much, but you can do like you
yeah.
just follow his lead and follow him around and kind of play
Oh,
what he wants to play.
I like
Um,
that.
yeah, but you make sure that they get to be in control.
Okay. I definitely, that's a really good idea. I know that would be helpful.
Yeah. So I think when we can do like the play, the roughhousing kind of play where she's in control, give her some
Yeah.
special time where she's in control. You can come to her when she's having a hard time as opposed to letting her go. And
Mhm.
pretty soon you'll start seeing organic cooperation. You won't even have to worry about the consequences.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense,
They'll
actually.
start to kind of dissipate. You'll be like, wait,
Yeah.
we don't have to have 25,000 rules because she's just listening.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I know that with kids, it doesn't help to say, "I'm gonna take your favorite toy away," because all that makes them think is, "You're just mean," really. They don't realize what that's for, just that you're
No.
super mean.
No, and I think there's so we're doing an event tomorrow. This will come way after the event, but we're doing a threats and bribes event, and, people really struggle with that, right? That's the main thing we use as our parenting method, like, "If you don't do this, then you're not gonna get that," or, "If you do
Right.
this, I'll give you that," just like they're doing at school.
Mhm.
But what happens is what we've noticed and what research says is that the kid doesn't learn how to do the behavior, right? Like clean their
Mm,
room or whatever it is. They just learn that they have to do it in order to avoid the threat or bribe. So as soon as you take the threat or bribe away, the
right.
behavior goes away too.
Right.
We want organic, authentic cooperation. We
Mhm.
don't want to have to pay our kids to take out the trash. We don't want to have to bribe our child to do their homework. We want them to do it because they're part of this house.
Right, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, because there are a lot of things like homework, for example, she loves it. And
Great.
like, her and I am a bookworm too. I'm actually a college professor too, and so I'm with her, and we just sit at the table, and we just talk, and we do stuff, and we work, but it's not like a chore.
Right.
It's just like we just connect, and we do it, and she's like, "I wanna do my homework."
So
So we
cute.
do that together and we love being together. Like yesterday, we went on a field trip together and it was dinosaurs. Neither her or I love dinosaurs, but we just were together and she kept saying, Mom, I'm so glad that you're here, holding my hand. And I hope that never goes away. I love the connection that we have. But
It won't
just
go
the
away.
just the whole like consequences thing, I didn't want to implement anything because I don't want to be hurtful to my kids in any way and I don't want to be controlling.
No, I don't
So
think you have to. I think if there's a limit you need to set, so there's 2 ways to set the limit, like we said with the couch thing, like, "Hey, let me help you migrate over here." Like,
yeah.
"You need me to bring your toast over here? Like, what's happening?" That's a good way, right? We can be
Yeah.
playful and kind and loving and helpful and do that, or we can set the limit. "You
Mhm.
gotta go in the kitchen, honey. It's time to go in the kitchen." They might get upset and have a big upset. That's
Right.
okay. We let them have the upset. And we
Okay.
say, "I understand. I know you don't wanna go in the kitchen. This is really hard. You can have your cry. Let's get it out, but you
Mhm.
gotta go in the kitchen after that. You're going in the kitchen." So that's where a passive parent has the hard time, right?
Yeah, and that would be me because I'm like, "Oh, just this one time," or she's not feeling good, so I'm the weak link, I think.
Well, I think you
Trying
both
to
have your parts, right, that you wanna bring to the parenting, right? We both have
Mhm.
our, our faults and our good attributes, and we wanna be able to get them all out there so that
Yeah,
everybody's, living in that a better middle ground.
yeah,
Y
and I want it to be just like it says on your, like, your title, "Peace and Parenting," like, I want a peaceful home
Yeah,
because I think it feels better to
yeah.
have peaceful home, and both my husband and I are from divorce, like, broken families that were not peaceful because of our step
Mhm.
parents and everything, and we don't want that type of home. This is our only marriage, this is our only family, and we
Yeah.
want it to be, like, connected and peaceful and sweet, and we want our kids to feel loved and connected to us, and we don't wanna be, like, mean
No. And
or
the problem with the threats and the consequences and the bribes is that they really start to make you move away from your kid. It
which
makes you feel hardened against them against us, and it causes resentment.
I
So
don't.
no, so we keep it like you said, we want it to be feel good and feel peaceful. My kids are 15 and 18. They haven't had a consequence in
Yeah.
13 years. They're
Well,
lovely kids.
yeah.
They follow Esme has the day off today, my oldest, she's 18. She got up, she cleaned her room on her own, she cleaned her fish tank on her own. She unloaded the dishwasher and then asked, "Do you wanna have breakfast with me?"
Uh-huh,
Like,
I love that.
she doesn't need a consequence. She doesn't need any of this stuff because she has connection.
I do love that, that's awesome.
Yeah, and you'll get there too.
Well, and both of my kids, almost 6 and 1.5, they actually help me now. They help me
Sweet.
without me asking. They help me unload the dishwasher. What, like, limited capacity, my 1.5-year-old's like, "Here's a fork," and, like, "Fork." And they help me with the, laundry, and I just
Yeah.
include them in things I do. I don't I used to, like, tiptoe around, wait till nap time, and get everything done, do, like, a mad dash, and then I realized, you know what? They're part of everything I do here. They can be included, and my daughter is so excited when I'm like, "Here's a rag, like, help me wipe the table," and it wasn't a negative thing. It was
Yeah.
just she was watching me do it and wanted to do it,
Yep.
and so I try to include them as much as I can, and they think
Good.
it's fun,
Yeah.
not like free labor, and I'm not trying to make it a hard thing, but they
Well,
just
they're hardly doing any labor. I don't think they could get much done anyway. It's
no,
very
but, like
good though. You want to include them and you want them to feel
yeah.
capable.
Yeah, well, like,
Yeah.
I'll be vacuuming or sweeping, and they're right behind me with their little toy vacuum and
So
broom,
cute.
and it's not like I'm forcing them to do it, it's just we're all doing it together for
Yeah.
fun, really.
So good, Shauna. You
So,
have so many great things in your parenting you're
I'm
already doing.
trying.
You're doing amazing. I think just adding in these extra connection layers and
Yeah,
working on that piece, you're going to get yourself to an incredible level.
okay, that's helpful, I appreciate that because I definitely don't wanna do the consequences or any negativity involved.
Nah, we don't need it. We
Okay.
can do better than that. We're better than that.
I really appreciate the help, though, it does help.
Yeah, I'm so glad. Well,
Yeah.
Shauna, thank you for coming on the Peace and Parenting podcast. I so very much appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely.